Good morning, everybody. It's the 23rd of July. I'm Joe Neighbour from Signal Centre Talking Bull. Happy Friday to everybody watching. We made it to the end of another week, and this will be the last video with me by myself. Next week, Steve will be back from his holidays, and we can start getting a bit more detailed with the charts. But hopefully, in the meantime, this has been good enough for the viewers out there. In terms of latest headlines, obviously all eyes were on the ECB yesterday. The big talk was whether or not there was going to be any tapering of assets from Christine Lagarde, and they did tweak the guidance slightly. They're allowing to keep rates lower for longer, and they've also extended the bond purchase program. So this was the first policy meeting since the ECB lifted its inflation target to 2%. And President Christine Lagarde says the ECB has learned from history and won't tighten early. So divergences are now becoming more apparent. We've got the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England, for instance, both inching towards paring stimulus, but ECB appears to be still full steam ahead. A bit of a bounce back again yesterday in equities. All seems to be recovering quite nicely from the initial sort of bout of volatility that we saw last week. But all in all, looking pretty good. So not much really going on the headline side of things as we end the week. As I said, it was all eyes on those ECB, on that ECB press conference yesterday. So how did that impact markets? Well, let's get stuck into the charts. First up, looking at the dollar index. So this formed a bearish outside candle on the 21st of July. And yesterday, we did see some continuation to the downside towards the lower end of this trend support. But the buyers stepped back in on the back of the ECB announcement, obviously having a weakening effect on euro and pushing the dollar index higher. Backing that up again today with some more gains. We've still got this resistance at 93.02 that I believe we need to overcome on a closing basis. And if we can do that, then it opens the way for a test of that 93.43 level, which for me is all important because that completes this large double bottom pattern that we've been talking about on the dollar index and really opens up the upside for continued gains over the short to medium term. So still waiting for a resolution. Price action was quite positive on the dollar yesterday, and obviously that's going to have a knock-on impact on the other currencies that we look at, most notably euro dollar. So in terms of price action yesterday, let's just zoom in on that first. So we saw a bit of a bounce yesterday, 2 days ago, but yesterday we pretty much engulfed all of those gains. We did make a move to the upside initially, but then gave all of that back. But we are still above this support level at 1751. Now, it is very, very close. I mean, you could argue maybe that it has now completed this head and shoulders top pattern. This is on a daily chart. It's grinding lower. There's been no real impulsive move, no sort of clean break, I would say, which sort of confirms that the head and shoulders top pattern has completed. So I think now this level becomes all the more important, which is at 117.04. Which is from these swing lows back here on the 31st of March. Horizontal supports are always more important for me. I like to see them break to really confirm the setup of a pattern. So I'd be looking at that level now to confirm this head and shoulders top, unless we do get any sort of big impulsive move and a break in action. That's essentially what we want to see to confirm this pattern. But all in all, this pattern's been building for a number of months. I quite like the fact that that's taken as long as it has. We've got a really big shift now, I think, occurring, and we are going to see a continuation to the downside from euro dollar over the coming weeks and months. But just need to see that 17.04 level give way. So looking at some of the other assets linked to dollar on the back of what we saw yesterday, well, sterling was actually quite robust. We did see this sort of engulfing candle posted on the 21st. We saw that backed up yesterday with further gains, so there was no slippage in that. We are on a back foot a little bit today, but as you can see, the participation yesterday was, and over the last couple of days, has been quite good. But we do have this break of a range. So maybe the gains here will be quite limited and we will see a continuation lower. And this may just merely be a corrective move to the upside in the very short term. Overall, I still believe that dollar will continue to move higher, and therefore that will have a negative effect on cable over the short to medium term. Okay, looking at some of the other currencies, let's just have a look at euro yen, see what that's doing. Not really much to report on that. Still got this break of channel. and persisting move lower. We've got support in place here at 128.59, and we're well above that at the moment, and no immediate signs of that being challenged today. It could be a bit of a quiet end to the week, really. This one I still think looks really nice. We've got this big break of the range here. This is Aussie Yen. We've got a cluster of resistance levels here between 81.97 to 82.28, and we appear to be stalling in front of that, and I think this represents a decent opportunity to sell into. We've had 4 consecutive days of gains if you include today. Obviously a long way to go before we actually close on the session, but this looks to be stalling, and for me represents decent opportunities to sell. I'm going to move on now from currencies because there's not much additional to speak about today, I don't think, but let's have a quick look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin had a really nice bounce from the 30,000 level, as many expected it would. We've got a really nice level of support formed here. Even below that, we've got further supportive levels down to 27,175. We've stalled into this sort of short-term downtrend channel. Downtrend resistance. In the last couple of days, price action has been pretty flat. So for now, I think it looks as though we're going to see more sideways price action on Bitcoin. Nothing really going to get that going, I don't think, unless we see anything out of the news to change that. Looking at the commodities, oil continues to rally higher, finding support at 65.10 to 66.41. The channel has broken, so really looking for a retest of that. I've got resistance at 73.13, so I'd be looking to potentially fade into that level and look for more sort of sideways price action on that. Looking at gold, not really much to speak about here, as I've spoken about the last couple of days. I think limited opportunities to trade. We're trading in a channel. We're rallying towards this resistance at 18.44, but price action is sort of flip-flopping around. So be careful if you're trading that, because I don't think there's really much going on there or any opportunity from a risk-reward perspective to make much on that. Moving on to the indices. FTSE 100 first up, our domestic market, that broke down through this support at 69.47 earlier in the week, but it's got back above that quite convincingly, and it's holding above it for now. Price action moving a bit sideways in the short term. So again, not a lot happening there unless we do get back below this support at 69.47. Then we may see a continuation of this correction down to a 38.2% fib level, which is from these lows down in November to the highs that we posted just in mid-June. And I think that would be quite a nice healthy correction, really, to create some value for investors to get back in and look for some names to purchase. Looking at NASDAQ, well, there's no worries about what's going on here. This, although broke a bit of a short-term uptrend, is now back at the highs. We are arguably testing the underside of that broken channel, so whether or not that will create any resistance, we'll need to wait and see. I don't think there's much on the earnings side of things to be concerned about today, but certainly next week we do have a few big names reporting. On Monday we've got Tesla, Tuesday we've got Google and Apple, Wednesday we've got Facebook, and Thursday we've got Amazon. So it could be next week before we see any sort of potential moves either way on NASDAQ from here, but all in all, overall the trend looks pretty good, and further upside probably is likely. S&P 500, this is just below the all-time highs, but there was no break of trend here. In fact, the trend line support just acted as an opportunity to buy, and had you done that, you'd be making a nice bit of money on that and approaching all-time highs again. So no issues with US markets for now. Okay, that rounds up the charts for the week. Have a quick look at the gun to the head trade that I did yesterday. So I went in on cable yesterday, was trying to sell that, and lost 29 ticks or 1R. So that was 2 stop outs in a row for me on the gun to the head challenge to close the week. So hopefully I can round it up with a winner today. Just having flicked through the small amount of chance that I did, the one that really stood out for me was this one, which was the Aussie Yen setup. We've got this big range which is broken down, and I think over the last few sessions we've seen a bit of a bounce, so we can look to sell into that. So intraday charts for a bit of refinement. Let's have a look. So it's currently trading at 81.27. I'm going to sell that now. and I'm going to put a stop loss above these sort of cluster of highs. Let's go 30 ticks. So 81.58 is a stop, and initial target down to these swing lows that we posted on the 20th, which is at 79.84. So looking for 4.74R on that one today. And let's see how that goes. Hopefully we can round the week off with a nice win on that. In terms of what we can look out for today on the data front, let's have a look at the calendar. So we've got a number of PMIs due out. So between 8:15 and 9 o'clock, we've got French, German, and Eurozone manufacturing services PMI, and we've got the UK at 9:30. Then we've also got the US at 2:45. So a big day for PMIs. We've also got some Canadian retail sales figures out as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on those numbers to see what impact they have on currencies and stock indices. That's pretty much it from me today. Nice, short and sweet one. I'll be back on Monday with my colleague Steve for more roundup on what's going on with the markets and the charts. And until then, trade safe, everybody, and have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.